We should move, shouldn't we? It never gets old. So much more entertaining. Well, for me, than
I wonder how long we can keep it going. Just
well, we try. Maybe next week we'll do a show. All we'll do is just sit and smile the whole way through. An hour of bit of hairspray, keep it in check. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to another digital download. And this is the final of our three-part series.
This is the fourth of
our three-part series.
Yeah.
Yes. And we're going to talk about engaging, because the first session that we did, we talked about the importance of personal brand, and the second session we spoke about the importance of network. And then in the previous session, we spoke about content and the different types of content and why you should be sharing content regularly. But I think that one of the things that's often overlooked, because it's one of those things where you don't actually have an easy metric to measure this by, about how you engage with people and why you should engage with people. Hi, Andrew. Lovely to see you.
Thanks for engaging, Andrew. Thank you.
Yeah, indeed. Thanks for engaging. You make our point for us. It's interesting, isn't it? Because I think for most of us, we've got 500, 5,000, 50,000 connections on LinkedIn, and the vast majority of these, we've no idea who these people are. We've either sent them a connection request because we've seen them, or they've interacted with something or whatever, and we've not given them another thought, or they've sent us a connection request and they've not given us another thought, and we've not given them another thought. So a lot of us have a huge network which is really diverse, and the vast majority of people within that network are people that we don't notice and don't notice us. And I guess that engaging is one of those ways that you can start to wave at people across this digital room. And I mean, when you publish a post and somebody that you've never interacted before likes it, what do you do?
Pounce on them and try and sell them something.
No, I mean, we all know you don't do that, but it's nice, isn't it, when you think, oh, I don't know this person, and they've what I've posted or shared or reshared or what I've commented has kind of resonated with them, and they've thought, oh, that's nice, I'll give it a like or an applause or respond to it. And it's kind of like a really nice feeling, and it spreads a bit of goodwill, but it also it means that you start to notice that person then, don't you, whether you like to or not.
I mean, it works both ways. One minute you're in effect waving at somebody, but if you go and start liking and commenting, then people will notice you.
Yeah, and I think that one of the things that's kind of really interesting about this is that often people think, well, I imagine that people think, and they're gone. Yeah, I imagine that people think that this doesn't have any clear purpose, if you like. It's kind of quite a nice thing to do, and it kind of is good to put a bit of love out there, but there isn't any kind of like strategic value in doing this. So can I share a picture or two?
Yeah, sure.
So this, let me just find it so I can share it. So when I look at my kind of connections, I'm connected because like you, Tim, I worked at Oracle for a while, and a lot of my connections are in Oracle. And when I share a piece of content, loads of people that I'm connected to in Oracle see that content, but I don't know who those people are. And I think that often what we don't do is we don't think, how can I make use of the fact that I've got a lot of connections within single organization or a place. Absolutely, Marlene. So I think one of the things that's really interesting, and often people don't really stand back and have a think about, is the fact that if you think about yourself in your place of work, the chances are on social networks you're connected to everybody that you work with. The person that sits on the next desk, the person on the floor upstairs from you, the person on the floor downstairs from you. So you're incredibly well connected together within your target organizations. And one of the things that we want to try to do is to stimulate people to share, to engage with our content, because your news feed looks just like my news feed. It's got content from people that you're connected to, and you see that, but you also see content from people that you're not connected to, and you see that content on your news feed because people you are connected to are engaging with it. And one of the best ways of getting people to engage with that content, the content that you share, is for you to start to engage with their content, because you know that
repository.
Yeah, and you log into LinkedIn and you're presented with this stream of content from the people that are within your network, and then every now and again your little icon in the top right hand corner, your little bell icon lights up, and then you click on it and it says Timothy Hughes has liked your post, and you see the name Timothy Hughes and you see the face of Timothy Hughes. And the more times that happens, the more you start to notice Tim when you go out into the digital world. And because you notice him more, you're more minded to like his content, because you're more likely to see his content and engage with his content. And I think what's really interesting about this is that often I think we all see this kind of engagement as being a very personal thing. I'm going to like your post because I liked your post. I'm going to drop a like on it. We don't think that there can be a bigger picture going on here, and something which is kind of more strategic and potentially more valuable if we can drive that sort of behavior.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that one of the things that we need to, so if we recap on, you need to have what we would call a buyer-centric profile, because when somebody comes to your profile, if you send a connection request, they're going to look at your profile. And if it says you're a results orientated, whatever, they're just going to ignore you, and so you're never going to get past.
And even if they accept your connection request, you will be one of the people in their network that they don't know, because they won't really
you're just a contact.
Yeah, you'll have made no impression on them at all.
So you need to have a buyer-centric profile. So this is a profile where you look interesting to the buyer. There's social proof about what you do. You're clearly not just a corporate spokesperson. You're a human being with with life outside of work. You have the second thing that we did was about having a network, not just contacts, and actually connecting with people to try and get conversations with people. Not trying to pitch, but trying to have a conversation. And the third thing that we did, we talked about content, and the reason why you have content. Kind of, they're all wrapped up together, but partly it's about social proof. And Adam talked about the three things you needed to do. One was to talk about what you do. The second thing was to talk about
what I do.
And the third thing was about you as an individual. And because if you have those three things coming up, on what people will see is, oh yeah, this clearly you understand my business issue, or you understand my vertical issue, or I can see that your son's a paddy diver, therefore I'm like you. And so those are all the things that we talked about in the last three sessions. Today is about going out and starting conversations. So this is using engagement as a way of starting those conversations. So, for example, I will just sit with the app. I'll be on the train, I'll be on the bus, or whatever, and I'll just go through LinkedIn and I will just leave comments, always encouraging comments. nothing ever negative. It will always be something positive that someone will come back and go, oh, thanks, Tim. Now, when they come back and say, thanks, Tim, they've recognized me. So in effect, what I'm doing is I'm like waving at them. So we know that if I phone them up every day, they would be a little bit annoyed. They'd probably cut the cable on the telephone. If I sent them an email every day saying, they would be really annoyed. Except on social, I can talk to these people every single day, or just wave at them across the social media. So you've got this ability to go out and have conversations with people. You can go just as you would do in the analog world. You can just walk up to them and have a conversation. There'll be people you know, people you don't know, people you'd like to know.
I think that's a really interesting thing, isn't it? Because I was talking to a sales leader just the other day, and they said, well, I never connect with anyone that I haven't met. And I think it's really interesting, isn't it? Because I think in the early days of LinkedIn, pretty much everybody thought that way. You know, I'm going to go to a meeting. After the meeting, I'm going to connect to these people so that we've already met and we can kind of stay in touch, which is a really good idea, and it should be baked into everybody's behavior, that. But the question is, why not flip that on its head, and why not connect to these people ahead of going into the meeting? So when you go into the meeting, they already know a little bit about you and feel that they know you a bit. And I mean, it's blindingly obvious, and but for many people, it's an aha moment. You know, it was an aha moment for you 10 years ago or 15 years ago, whenever. And I think that for everybody, it's like, okay, so this isn't necessarily the long tail. Social isn't the long tail of having met you. It could be the leading bit of me meeting you, and it could be the thing that drives us actually getting to meet in person. And I think that it's interesting, isn't it, that so many of these things, you know, and you said about in the analog world as opposed to the digital world, so often I think people assume that these things operate in a completely different way, and they don't. They're exactly the same, aren't they?
Exactly the same.
Except, you know, at this event that is LinkedIn, there are 1 billion people in the networking room rather than 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, the block button would be worn out. In fact, because the analog and digital world are so similar.
Andrew, by the way, I've actually blocked so many people that LinkedIn won't allow me to block any more people. Yeah,
so let that be a warning, or not actually, because you know he can't block you now. So come on, everyone, pile in. But joking aside, you know, it'd be quite funny, wouldn't it, to turn up at a networking event with a button that says block, and then you can start a conversation with someone and you can go, actually, I don't like them. And but I think what's really interesting is that somehow people think different rules apply, don't they? So in that networking, in that face-to-face networking event, and you use the word reciprocity, you know, you would, hi Tove, nice to see you.
Been on here.
You said about reciprocity, and it's kind of like in that face-to-face networking environment, you would walk up to someone and you would say, hi, I'm Tim, who are you, what do you do? And they'd tell you. And then at the end of that, they'd say, all right, Tim, what is it that you do? And then you tell them, and you've got this backwards and forwards thing. What you wouldn't do is walk up to them and say, hi, I'm Tim. I work for an ERP vendor. We've got the top quartile Gartner performance of our ERP product, and everybody thinks it's good. It interacts with every single other product and platform on the market. Let me give you a quick demonstration of how valuable and powerful our product is. You wouldn't dream of doing that. And yet in the digital space, so often that is how people behave, isn't it?
And also don't forget that if you say to people, I'm walking down the high street of the Mall and someone comes and taps you on the shoulder and say, do you want to buy a pension? You tell them, go away. And you say, who are you? I don't know you. But in the world of B2B, you're expected, or there's an expectation that you will ring somebody up who you don't know and they'll buy from you.
Yeah.
When you tell people, no, I'd never buy a pension from
isn't it funny? You're saying that, and everyone in the audience is thinking that would be a ludicrous behavior. It sounds
if someone came up to you in the street and said, "You want to buy a pension?" You'd probably use two words. One of them began with F, and one began with an O. and everyone goes, no one would ever do that. And then we get to work, and then we expect that to happen. Oh, I'm going to ring a total stranger up, and they're going to buy 3 of my product. Really?
Yeah. It makes no sense at all. And I think that maybe it's because if I meet you in the physical environment and I do something like that, I get to watch your face just go, oh, not another one, and turn around and walk away. And in the digital space, I don't. So it begets this terribly bad behavior, which is, when you think of it, massively inappropriate way to behave. But I think that the engaging thing is a really interesting thing, because it is that opportunity to start to have those first initial interactions with somebody in a way that is non-threatening for them. Maybe a connection request is too threatening at this point.
Yeah.
Maybe a pitch or a conversation about what you do, or a conversation about their business needs or their challenges is we aim to please, Tove. Their challenges is too intimate, too detailed, too exposing. That bit of interaction isn't, is it?
Well, you go to a networking event, and there's always that person that stands too close to you. That's the one. Yeah. And you know what it's like. We're used to standing with a certain distance, and we still have that. We still have that on digital, which is where, if you send a connection request to somebody, a total stranger, the likelihood that they're going to accept that is going to be pretty small. And then if you accept it and you pitch your services, the likelihood that they're going to block you is pretty high. Except people still do it, so they must be getting. They're getting some response from it.
Well, I would challenge that. I would think they're not, and the reason I would think that is that I've not ever met anybody that says they find this kind of behavior acceptable. And I think the reason that people keep behaving that way is simply that they don't know what else to do.
Yes, because what we've done since 1970, when did cold calling start? 1980s.
Always be closing.
Yeah. What we've done is that we took whatever we did we did cold outreach through the telephone in the 1980s. In the 1990s, we found out that we could do it cold outreach for free because we had email, and therefore what we've done is, as soon as social came along, I've been on LinkedIn for 21 and a half years. What we do is we assume that's what selling is.
Yeah, and it's this kind of backward-looking view of things, isn't it? So, when we moved from writing letters to faxes, the cost of sending the written word to people came down enormously. And as a consequence of that, people thought, not I can be more targeted or more timely with my communication. They thought I can just do more. And then when the cost went down again to zero with the advent of email to send the written word to you, well, that's great. I can just email everyone because someone's going to buy if I email enough people. And unfortunately, people have perceived social as being just simply a free distribution mechanism for their. And
what we'll do is that we'll take all the stuff that nobody's reading on our website, and everybody's deleting and unsubscribing from our spam network. And what we'll do is I'll put it on social media, and everybody will go, "Wow, you do injection molding! I never knew that. Wow, can I have 3, please?"
Yeah, and it is, and again, very tongue in cheek. But that seems to be the perception of people, isn't it? So I always think that the best way to develop a relationship and to sell something is to meet somebody face to face, to go to that networking event, to press palms with them, to introduce yourself. They get to see this. In your case, not necessarily in mine, this charming, handsome, well-dressed person walk up to them who says, "That's interesting. Tell me more about what you do," and
tell me more about injection molding.
Yeah, put their very best self forward, and social should be that digitally. It should be that without the necessity that you have with that physical interaction of me and you having to be in the same room at the same time on the same day. Now we can do it digitally. You can be in a different county, a different country, a different continent, and I can do it at midday and you can read it at midnight, and it still has every bit as much power. It's a magnificent opportunity. However, we are squandering that opportunity by looking for shortcuts rather than saying, what do I really need to do? I really need to build a relationship with you. And if I build a relationship and trust, then you're A, going to let me speak, and B, listen and believe what I say. And yet all of that shortcutted, and the seller's belief seems to be, because what I'm saying is true, you, the buyer, will believe me because it's true. And actually, that's not how the world works, is it? It's never been how the world works.
No, we would. Well, wow, you sell that, and I'm supposed to believe what you say. No, of course you're not. Oh, you're the world's number one. Come on, everybody says that.
Yeah.
But you see, I was standing in there. I'm just last weekend. I was in Ealing, and I was standing at a bus stop, and a complete random.
Well, why were you standing at a bus stop, Tim?
Oh, because I get free travel now in London. And
nice.
I was standing at a bus stop, and this complete random person said to me, there was a Mini went past, and a Mini is like a small car, but they're not anymore. They're, because everybody makes SUV things. So it's like, he said, it's a Mini, but it's as big as a Range Rover. It just completely randomly.
Yeah.
Not nice guy, nice guy. And he said, look at that Mini. It's as big as a Range Rover. And we got into a conversation about how cars had changed and And it's kind of like a metaphor for talking on LinkedIn. Here was somebody that I didn't know, and I'm never unlikely to bump into him again, but I might do, because he might go to the same bus stop to have a conversation with me again. But here was somebody, a complete random, who basically came and started talking to me, and we just had a chat, just as you would do. You wouldn't just say to the person, put your hand out and say, talk to the hand or something like that. You would, if someone engages you, you would talk to them. We just got into a chat about it. And that's what you can do on social with engagement is somebody, they've just come back from maternity leave. Oh, wow. Did you have a good time? How's the baby? It's what you would, it's exactly what you would say. Or, somebody who's just been laid off. I'm really sorry. Is there anything that I can do to help you? I've got a big network. Can I connect you with somebody, whatever, or I'm just trying to pick things out, but you can just go through your timeline. Oh, I hope you had a great time at your sales kickoff. It looks like, I love the balloons, or, usually I find it's like, it looks like a great sales kickoff, but look at the carpet of that hotel. It's a bit jazzy, isn't it? And you can have these random conversations, and people will come back and they actually enjoy it because it's a social network. We're now used to, you and I have been in social media for over a decade and a half.
Mm.
And most people are now used to having these because they have them on Facebook, and most people are having these conversations. So rather than going up to a random, tapping him on the shoulder, this guy started pitching his garden services to the woman who came to sit next to him. So and he got his business card out, and he said she was complaining about her garden. He said, I do gardening. And he got a business card out and that. But I didn't get the pitch of the gardening services. But you just by going up and talking to somebody, rather than tapping on the shoulder, saying, do you want some gardening services? Here's my business card. You just got to say, look at the size of the Mini. It's like a Range Rover. Yeah, it is, isn't it? And we're often having a conversation. And that is what social media is about, because you don't know where that's going to lead. But if you're doing it targeted with the people that you want to talk to.
Yeah, I mean, it's an inevitability that some of those people will step up and have a conversation. Interesting what Andrew said here. Are people just overwhelmed with the speed of technology? They're scared to hop on board. I think yes and no. I think what's really interesting is that it's only when you stop and step back and look at how the algorithm promotes behaviors and introduces you to people and how you actually interact with stuff, that you realize that often you're doing some of this stuff without meaning to. So when you think that some of your news feed contains content that you're seeing because someone else in your network has engaged with that content, then by default, some of the people in your network will see some of the stuff that you're engaging with. It'll say, you know, I'm seeing this because Timothy Hughes has liked this particular post and has done this particular thing. And I think that I mean, one of the really interesting things for me is that often we get hammered by people saying, well, this is business, this is not personal, you know, this is not Facebook, so you shouldn't be sharing personal stuff. And I get why you would think that, because it is a business network. But equally, you know, the corollary to that is that if you had the option to have a conversation with a client in their boardroom or in a football box match for a day, which would you pick? And every salesperson says the football match, yeah, because you get to bond with this person. So there is this overlap between personal and business. Of course there is. But I think what's really interesting is the people that say, I would never engage with those personal posts because this is for business, not for pleasure. When you look at the stuff they have actually engaged with, it's Tim Hughes has started a new job. Tim Hughes has got a birthday today. Tim Hughes is celebrating an anniversary at this workplace. It's all personal stuff that they're engaging with. They're not engaging with Tim's selling a new CRM system.
And if it's here's my injection, if it's a picture of an injection molding machine, you won't get an engagement. If you stand there and go, here's my injection molding machine,
you might get some engagement.
You will get some engagement because your face is on it. As can't remember his name from Salesforce said, the only thing that you have between you and your network is your own personality in your face.
Mm. Yeah. So Julia, yeah, absolutely. People are forgetting that they need to be human, and I think part of that is driven by the pressure, certainly, that salespeople are put under. You know, I don't want you to sell this next week, Tim. I want you to sell it today. So there's an element of that, and also this kind of. I think what's really interesting is that every company claims to be customer focused. Every company claims they want a relationship with their clients. They don't. What they want is sales.
Yeah.
So if you are seen to be messing about on social by sharing pictures of your birthday cake and stuff like that, you may well have somebody tap you on the shoulder and say, what are you sharing this nonsense for? You need to be talking about our product. But the reality is that people do not want to hear about your product. If I do a post that says, we do these 3 things, how many times can I share that post before people switch off? So I'll tell you the 3 things I do today, and I tell you tomorrow, and I tell you the day after, and I tell you the day after, and then people just simply stop reading my posts. Whereas if I do, here's a post about our 3 things, and then I do a post which is, here's how we do these 3 things, and I do, here's how our 3 things help somebody, and here's me and the fact I bought a new dog, and here's me with the kids, and here's a meal that I had, and all of a sudden I become a complete person, and there's a reason to keep tuning into my posts in the future.
And this is the difference for leadership, to understand the difference between basically doing random acts of social and actually having a strategy on social. And I agree with you that a lot of leadership think that, you know, I've known of people that they think that the whole of the IT market is basically collapsed on each other because all that happens is salespeople play on social media all day. And what happens is that salespeople are doing things randomly rather than having a strategy and actually having a process.
Well, I think that's it, isn't it? It's the strategy. It's the reverse engineering of what you want the outcome to be. So it's like, you know, I'm going to send you a connection request and you're in charge of a particular company in a particular region doing a particular thing. And then I think afterwards, when I share a post, I think, oh, I should have shared that post before, because then it'd be sitting on my profile. And then you would have seen that when you looked at my profile, and then you would have accepted my connection request. But I think so much of the engagement bit is about generating that goodwill, isn't it? Because, you know, if you're one of my connections and we've not really noticed each other, and then I see that you've posted something and I drop a like on it, and I see you've posted something and I drop another like on it, and then I see you've posted something and I comment on it, then I like the next thing, and then I go. Eventually, you have to look at me and go, "Who is this guy that keeps liking my posts?" And then you look at me, and then I've got you, because I've spent a huge amount of time developing a really funky, interesting, different profile. You might look at it and go, "I hate him," or you might look at it and go, "I love him." And actually, the reality is either will do, because what you want is you want to be recognized first. And then if I'm that idiot that plays the guitar, and then I do a really good post and you think, well, that was a good post for an idiot. And then I do another good post and you go, well, that's a good post by an idiot. And then I do another one and you think, well, maybe this guy isn't an idiot after all. But the key thing is to break through the noise, isn't it? And the only tool you have for that is to start to engage with people, because of that old adage, you know, 2 ears and 1 mouth, use them in those proportions. If I demonstrate I'm listening to you, that's an incredibly attractive trait, isn't it?
Yeah, I had someone come to me and say that my summary title was the most unprofessional thing that he'd seen. And I
hope you said to
him straight away.
Yeah, you're right. It is. You're right. Absolutely, it is the most. However, you're now in a conversation with me.
Yeah, and the thing was that what I did was I qualified him out, because he'd never buy from me.
No, I mean, I remember you and I were pitching to I think it was a telecoms wholesaler, and the sales leader said, I don't believe that social selling works. And you said, well, clearly it does, evidenced by the fact that we're sitting here with you today. And the truth of the matter is that this is a mechanism by which you can overcome the prejudices of the people that you want to have a conversation with. And even in this guy's case, where he thought he wasn't being influenced by what you were posting, he was influenced because, yeah, well, I must have seen you another way. Well, I doubt it, because we don't do anything but this. We don't do any marketing. We don't do any cold calling. We don't do any email. We don't do any of it. All we do is social. And the fact is that in spite of himself, he saw us and we got a meeting with him. And I think what's really interesting is that you can subtly reshape people's opinion of you by just doing the things that you would do naturally face to face. So Tove, an interesting comment here. I've always said that imagine LinkedIn is like a big sit down dinner party. You would start by saying, hi, my name is blah, and then you would listen. And then you might jump in with a comment or a question. You wouldn't go, hi, this is my name, I sell the best whatever, and you will get these benefits. People would think you are nuts. Yes, people would think you are nuts.
You are.
And I think what's really interesting about that is that so often, even as people are doing these things in the digital space, and they know it's the wrong thing to do, they know it's driving the wrong impression, they still do it. No, Andrew, it was Tim's birthday a couple of months ago, and rather, I mean, I'm incredibly jealous of this. So when I get to 67, retirement age, I will get free bus travel anywhere in the UK. Tim is nothing like 67 yet, and he has got free transport for London, because he lives in London, free transport on all of TfL's. So trains, tubes, and buses. Do you get to go on the river as well?
Yeah.
River buses too?
Yeah.
Oh, marvellous. Yeah, absolutely. We're all idiots until somebody gets to know us. And in some cases, idiots even then.
To pick up on what Andrew said earlier on, our people are just overwhelmed with the speed of technology and scared to hop on board. Yes, I think in some cases. And I agree with you that in other cases, it's partly because people don't know what to do. And what they need to do is to have a process and you do this, you do this, you do this. Someone once described it to us as social media was a bit like a merry-go-round, spinning round, and with all it seemed to be all these people sitting on the merry-go-round laughing and joking, and we were just sitting there and not sure what to do. And I think it's because people just don't know what to do, and therefore they don't know how to hop on.
Yeah, I guess that until you are part of the conversation, it can seem a little bit intimidating. I think what's interesting, particularly about LinkedIn, is that it actually happened on one of these shows, didn't it? A while ago, we had a troll come on, and it's the only time I've ever seen trolling on LinkedIn.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah,
trolling
terrible
on LinkedIn. But this is not a platform where that happens. So the worst that can probably happen to you is that people will just simply ignore what you're doing and saying. It's very unlikely that you'll find 1.2 billion people pointing at you and laughing. So I think the key thing is that you just have to roll up your sleeves and jump in. But I guess that a really good kind of byword for this is just behave as you would want people around you to behave. So be courteous, be nice. You said you always go and leave positive comments on people's posts. Yeah, because nobody wants you to jump on and go, well, actually, you're wrong, because it puts people's backs up and it makes you look like you're the aggressor in that relationship, if that's the kind of post you leave. So nice posts that reflect the kind of things, or nice content and comments that would be the sort of things you would want to receive. And behave in this digital space exactly the same as if you were going out on a date or you were at a dinner party. You're courteous, you listen as well as talk, you try to be thoughtful and supportive, you try to add insights and make it seem like you're a valuable person to have in the conversation. All of that is stuff that you would very naturally do in the analog world. And yet so often it isn't what's done in the digital world.
And what you can do is, if you go to there's 3 buttons top right hand corner. If you click on that, you can unfollow the person.
Yeah, and actually, I think that's a really valuable thing to do for people that just share the same nonsense time and time again, because they clog up your newsfeed. We've all got a finite amount of time, so you log into, say, LinkedIn. You log in and you start to scroll through stuff, and there's a garbage post and another garbage post and another garbage post and another. And if you're searching for something good, something that you can read and get some value from or interact with, then your newsfeed is not composed of the right kind of content. Now, that doesn't mean it has to be business content or personal content, but it's a mix of these things. It's the people that you want to be engaging with. It's the content that's valuable, and valuable could be it's educational or improves your view of things or helps you develop your thinking. Or it could be that it makes you laugh, or you feel supported, or you see somebody that's in a similar situation to you. All of that is valuable stuff. And I think that often people are of this mindset that there's an awful lot of noise going on, but that's your fault for not curating your news feed.
Yeah.
And I believe that people should be spending 10 minutes a day going through unfollowing people that share the same sort of stuff, because once I know that you are head of sales for a company that sells HCM software, really I don't need to keep having you tell me that same thing day in, day out.
Yeah, there's a lot of CEOs that I've been unfollowing recently because of the fact that they just keep sharing we're number one in the upper quadrant, and it's like, oh, really?
In fact, Andrew, just before we started the show, we were talking about how you are one of the most handsome men that ever interacts with our content, so you don't need to worry about that, mate.
I agree with Andrew's comment that there are no instructions with the social network.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that one of the challenges is that you go on to, and social is a really good example of this. You go onto LinkedIn, and there are self-professed experts that build up the complexity of this and tell you all of these rules, and this is what you need to do to kind of hack the algorithm, which is one of my most hated phrases. You need to do these things in order to
one
be
of his hated phrases.
But it's all just nonsense. You need to go out there, you need to be nice, you need to be yourself, And it's not about hacking the algorithm. And I think what's really interesting is that we all of us have kind of these preconceived ideas or things, no matter how much you know about stuff. These things are where you think, yes, that's something that I would like to happen. So, like, everybody wants a post that goes viral. Why? Why does everyone? So we worked with a guy at Telstra. In fact, he just moved to a new company, and he did a post when he was a client of ours, probably 3 or 4 years ago. And this post went properly viral. It got 6.5 million views and 40,000 likes nearly. And he didn't get a single piece of inbound from this. Yet, despite that, we hope that,
Sorry, Mark.
we are so sorry, Mark. So sorry. Mark was due to come on as a guest this week.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, we had an internal breakdown in communications. Maybe we should have spent more time on social networks.
Yeah. Sorry, our producer's on holiday.
Yes. So
he should have blocked out the time. Sorry about that, Mark.
Yes. But Mark will be joining us shortly.
But please join us in September. And Adam's going to be sharing. Anybody else? Adam's going to share the link or the QR code, as we call them today. Later on.
Absolutely. And I hope, Mark, that when you do come on shortly, I hope that not only will you be shaved and gelled, but you will be wearing a really seriously cool shirt. Yeah, it is interesting, isn't it, that all of these kind of rules that are built up and the advice that people give is often founded in no knowledge. Anyone that claims that they can help you with the algorithm, for example.
I'm just amazed how these people get any airtime at all.
Well, because people are looking for a quick fix.
Well, of course they are. They're looking for a button, So they're looking for and it's like, if you just do the right thing, the algorithm will look after you. What do you think? Okay, well, LinkedIn is a company that wants to make money, right? Let's not fool ourselves, because we kind of think that there's some sort of benevolent sort of, so they want to make money, yeah. And so what they want to do is that they're going to show ads to you. So you need to basically be, so one of the things you can do is scroll through LinkedIn, because LinkedIn like you to see the ads. At the same time, you're going to see people's posts. They also like you to come to the platform and stay a long time, because what they're doing is that they can show you ads. So what you do is you stay on the platform a long time and you like stuff. They also want you to share and connect to people. So you're doing all the things that it wants you to do. If you're doing all the right things, the algorithm will look after you. And you get all these people about making complaints about engagement going down, and then you look at their content and it's like, buy my injection molding machine because it's great. It's like, oh, no.
Yeah, and I think what's really interesting about this is that thanks, Alan.
Thank you, Alan.
The thing that for me is really interesting is that the most closely guarded secret within LinkedIn, like within Google, like within all of the social networks, is the algorithm, the thing that determines what you see and what you don't. And the algorithm is locked in a safe with 24-hour armed security, making sure that nobody gets to see exactly what's under the hood of these digital machines. And the reason for that is that if you do know what the algorithm does and how it works, you have limitless wealth, because you basically can showcase your whatever to everybody in the world.
So our government just recently went to Apple and said, show us your algorithm. And Apple said, piss off, to our government. And our government, okay, right, I better go then. So it's like, you're not going to get access to it. But if you do the right, if you do the right thing, I get so many connection requests from people that can help. The biggest lie out there is about your summary title. So this is the shocking news. The biggest lie out there is about your summary title. Everybody, apart from us, tells you that your summary title should tell everybody what you do. It's the biggest piece of self-harm that you can do. Why is that? So I get so many LinkedIn connection requests that say, I can help CEOs with their accounting. Now, if I accept that, what do I get? A pitch. So what do? Ignore. So I can help CEOs with their fitness. Ignore. I help CEOs start up their organization. Ignore. I get one a day, all with the same. So the biggest. I keep meaning to actually cut them out and then
do a little collage of them.
I put a collage of them all together and say. And I have a mate who's done one of these, and I've tried to tell him about it, and he says, "No, this is okay." So you look exactly the same as everybody else.
But worse than that, it means that in order for me to determine that I don't want to talk to you because I don't need your products and services, I don't need to actually read any further down than your headline.
It's right.
So if it says I sell people's CRM systems, if that's what your headline says, you'd look at that and you'd go, "We've got a CRM system, don't need that." Yeah. Whereas if it said the coolest looking person on LinkedIn today, you'd go,
I'd look at their LinkedIn profile.
Yeah. And then you'd look at the next bit down. And if the next bit down told a good enough story, you'd read on and you'd read on and you'd read on. And it's all about hooking people. You know, the sales pitch in your LinkedIn profile is reading the whole profile. That's the sales pitch. The job at the top of the LinkedIn profile is to get you to read the next paragraph. The job of that paragraph is to get you to read the paragraph after, and nothing else. Because anyone that thinks that if your profile says, I help people solve their revenue requirements, that people are going to go, I better speak to this person. I'll send them an email, because it's not how the world works.
Yeah, but you see, the contrary to this is the person will say, yes, but we've got the best revenue in the world.
Of course.
Yeah, you may have the best revenue, blah, blah, in the world, but I'm not interested in talking to you because I've either got one, I don't have time, or you look like an idiot.
So here's a pressing question from Andrew. He can't play Quidditch, actually. No. He is learning, though.
I don't even know what it is, Andrew.
So on the subject of this one, Andrew, yes, you do. You do need to do another, think of another album. And so do you, Johan, as well. You need to do another album. I think that when you step back and look at the LinkedIn behavior that people need to have to be successful, there are no moon landings here. This is not rocket science. You simply need to be nice and friendly and helpful. You need to show up with your best self. Your best self is not, I've been doing this for 25 years. Your best self is an interesting person that I would want to talk to and get to know. And if you're somebody that I would want to talk to and get to know through the digital channel, there's a chance at some point down the road I'll want to meet you in real life, either on a Zoom call or in a face-to-face environment, because we'll have built enough trust that I will think that will be a valuable use of my time. But so much of this is about doing what salespeople, ironically, are so good at doing: building rapport, winning trust, making friends of people. So if you happen to share my passion for whatever it is, juggling and clown skills, then we're kindred spirits. We're cut from the same cloth. We're bound to have a load to talk about. So it's going to be a lot easier for me to get you into a situation where I can have a proper conversation with you than if I talk about what I do. And you said about, we do the best, whatever, the best accounting software in the world. But you may do, but let's be honest, nobody's opening line is we do the worst accounting software in the world. So it's all just words. It doesn't mean anything, does it?
Well, you sell accounting software, so of course you're going to say it's the best. So you're not telling me anything new. But if you told me that if you posted the fact that you got your feet wet every Friday,
we know somebody that does that, don't we?
Yeah. So David Pugsley, who's been on here on this, does something. Yeah. I always get the
feet wet Friday.
It's feet wet Friday. So if you go to LinkedIn, and search, because he's got the hashtag Feet Wet Friday, or look at David Pugsley. He started this. He's been doing it, what now, 12 months?
But longer, I would think. Probably
Maybe.
a couple of years.
So every Friday he goes, because he lives in London. He actually lives in Pimlico, which is near Vauxhall Bridge. And he actually goes, if he can walk from his home to the Thames, and he stands in the Thames with his trousers rolled up, and does a little video. And his videos are brilliant because they're only like 20 seconds, maybe 30. And he says, it's Feet Wet Friday. And it started off that this was all, 12 months ago. This was a big laugh. And he gradually went up, he got 5 likes, then 10 likes, and then 20 likes, and then 60 likes. And then it all tailed off again. And I think he went quiet. And then he said, and I can see he's doing it all the time. And now he's getting a consistent 30, 40 likes. And as I found out, because we were talking about him today in a meeting, and I went to his profile, he's actually getting other people doing it and using the hashtag. So he's actually starting a movement. So, and the key thing about this is that it's non-threatening. You
know exactly the kind of guy that he is from watching how he behaves, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, and he's one of the world's nice people. But he works at Salesforce, which is it's highly political.
They take their selling seriously,
big targets, but he doesn't come on the screen and say, have I got a CRM system for you? What we've done is that we've moved the button up here, and by the way, if you do this and you stand on one leg, and we've got this new feature, which is what I mean. There's some people that post where they've got like these demos. I just always unfollow the people because it's like I don't want all that, and I get motion sickness. So, but that's the thing. The top of your banner where it basically moves. I get motion sickness. I can't look at LinkedIn profiles like that. They make me ill. So just so if you think you're doing it or you're thinking of doing it, please don't, because we did some research when I was at Oracle, and 25% of people basically have it. 25 to 30%. So you're going to cut out 25 to 30% of your audience if you have one of those motion sickness things. But David, he's just created a movement out of it. It's non-threatening, and it's just a bit of fun.
Yeah. Which I think brings us almost to time, doesn't it?
Well, Andrew says the best way to get any interaction is being yourself, plain and simple. I agree, Andrew. And do go on Adam's that album. Mark's thinking of doing throat wet Saturdays.
I like that. That's a really good idea.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what that means.
And Andrew, Ryan Compton, the headmaster, has told us.
I had a sheltered upbringing.
Yeah, and I think that what's really interesting, when Tim and I started the business nearly 10 years ago, isn't it?
9 years ago.
Nearly 9 years ago.
It's nearly our birthday, 1st September.
Yeah. When we started the business,
and I did it all wrong, and we had to register it around about the 25th.
Yes, that's right. So when we started the business, we thought that at the moment there seems to be a real lack of understanding and knowledge in the social selling space, and but none of this stuff is rocket science. So we've probably got a year, 2 years, 3 years if we're lucky. And then everybody will be doing this, and this will be business as usual. And now, 9 years down the road, still we are in a position where it feels in some cases like we're stating the obvious to people, because it seems so straightforward. And every time we teach a group of people, at no point does anyone put their hand up and say, I don't believe what you're saying. I don't believe any of it. Everybody nods and goes, well, yeah, duh, obviously. And what is apparent is that it's simple, but it's not necessarily easy, and the challenge is in doing this in a planned, habitual way and maintaining some kind of consistency with what it is that you do. But what's really interesting, I think, is that all of us are capable of doing this stuff. We have
so Money. I don't know what that Maniba has basically said we have fat cake in Cape Town. Can you turn that into a hashtag or
fat cake?
Yeah, maybe it is hashtag.
Yeah,
a hashtag, or I don't know, but I don't. But maybe it's you're starting a movement.
Yeah. So here we are. We do need to wrap things up now. So Mark, Maniba, Andrew, Yayan, Alan,
Julia,
Tove, Marlene, everybody that has commented on the show.
Safana, Marlene.
Oh yes, yeah. Thank you all so much for coming on. Thank you all much so very much for your comments. We are always looking for interesting guests, even if sometimes those guests do book in and then we throw it back in their face by booking something else in that time, for which, once again, we apologize without reservation, Mark. We would love to have you on as guests, so please do scan the QR code and come and join us if you have an interesting viewpoint or something that you would like to share. And we've had all sorts of fascinating guests on that have helped to broaden our understanding of behaviors, even worm farms on one occasion. So all sorts of interesting people have come on the show. So please do join us. And
the whole point of it is to be educational. So, you know, what we're
fun.
looking for, and fun. So we're looking for people that have got something. We don't want pitches. We want you to come on and talk about something. And there's a subtle difference between making what you do sound interesting and pitching, you know, and you will find that if you come on and pitch, you will get
laughed at.
You will get laughed at.
Yeah.
So but you know, if we've got the full panel on, and you know, like the woman who came on and talked about worm farms, it's her passion in life, and
it was wonderful, wasn't it? One of the best.
I mean, I've had her on my podcast, and she's amazing because she's got this amazing laugh as well, because she does laughter yoga, and she's just got this infectious laugh. And of course we came, and I know loads of stuff about worm farms. I've been into Richmond and at a sustainability meeting, and I put my hand up and said, "What are we doing about worm farms?" And they like look at me like as if to say, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Well, I know a way of getting rid of all the cardboard and all the newspaper that people throw away."
Fantastic. So everybody, have a great weekend. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
And in the UK, it's a long weekend. So if you're in the UK, have a great bank holiday weekend. Enjoy your extra day. And until next time, when we hope to see you then, have a fantastic week. Bye-bye, everyone.